Recording in progress.
All right, who are we missing here? We're missing, Arnold, can you hear us?
Probably sleep.
He was on here.
And then Sunday.
Eli Code was
Feedback. All right. Then it was Arnold, Jamie. We're missing Carly. Jim. Well, good morning, everybody. Just going to introduce myself. I'm Brooks Davis. I'm working in the Tech Services Department, our Tech Services part of the Transportation Department. What I kind of do is mainly go out and do a lot of the project management of the road projects that we do. And what I wanted to do today was kind of get a first step coordination meeting. What we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing a reconstruct of Ross Fork Road between Eagle to exit 80. And what I want to do is get everybody on board. If anyone's got some problems or concerns, we're going to be rolling into the design aspect of it. And so if there's some stuff we need to change, like road realignments, walking paths, things like that, now's the time to discuss those points and just bring them to the table. We also have Jeff from planning here. He's going to be going over, they got a grant to do some walking paths and stuff. That'll serve them over there for the casino. And then I want to show you kind of the new realignment for exit or for this road. Let's see here. Hey, Danelle, can you see that fine?
No, I can't see your screen.
No, I can't see your screen.
You can't see that? Okay, hold on. You're not seeing that, huh? Exit 80 casino.
No, I can't see the screen.
No, I can't see your screen.
Guess you brought your IT people over, Ray. Brought Big Rod.
Your title Tech Services.
It should be working. I think it's all Danelle. She's having issues over there.
Advanced sharing.
Oh, there we go. Come on, dude. How about that now? Can you see that?
I can see a blank
I
screen.
can
Yes,
see a
I got
blank
it.
screen.
All right, cool. All right. So just kind of went over this. This is kind of the conceptual of what we're looking at as far as rebuilding Ross Fork Road. What we're planning on doing is kind of keeping the alignment the same through here and then expanding it right up here by Trading Post. So we'll have an extra turning lane going in there, and then we'll redo this intersection here to tie in with Eagle. In discussing it with Jimmy, the engineer, what the future plan is to develop Eagle Road from here to Agency Road. And for now, it'll be kind of set up like Agency. There'll be a middle turn medium and then north and south bound lane. But with a walking or with a bike lane and stuff, and what that does is kind of, we have all these extra lanes, and if we need to, and if the traffic ends up growing over the next 10 years, we can end up turning it into 4 lanes. So we can have 2 going north, 2 going south. And that's kind of the concept here. Me and Jimmy were kicking around the idea that we'd like to move these islands back and adjust this alignment from here to this alignment up here where you guys turn into the casino, and then move all these islands back. That'll give us the ability to, down the road, if the traffic flow and everything picks up, we'll be able to run 4 lanes there too. But for the time being, we'll kind of keep the alignment the same, and we'll have a bike path and stuff through there. So that's why I was hoping Enterprises here. I'd like to talk to them about moving their islands back. You guys have any issues with that gaming?
No,
Anything?
No, actually, I think that'll look really nice.
Like to just straighten it out so it's all
Yeah,
consistent width through there. The other big change would be up here by you, Arnold, and them with Jeff's grant guy. He wants to do some type of redesign in here to make it flow better, where we have your turnoff going into here. It's not very conducive to yeah, I mean, there's potential to have more accidents and stuff there, and what we'd like to do is create some type of a intersection here. And then you guys can do a development down here at the road and readjust how you guys are turning into your buildings, but it would involve relocating that air quality tower there.
Yeah.
Which it won't be a big deal to do that, but it's something that we want to bring up so that you guys are aware of it.
Well, I heard that museum is going to be doing an upgrade as well. And their entrance, we're shutting off the entrance that we're using now for the public safety. Yeah, that's gonna be closed off, and then you'll continue the driveway coming south from the casino to the hotel, come right past us, yeah. Go straight back and go around and go into the parking lot. But it's our understanding that the museum wants to extend out into the middle of the parking lot with some kind of foliage and a circular drive, and they want a beautification of that area. So right now, we're talking with planning, and there's some, in 2018, there was some development done, to where they was, from my understanding, it was gonna put the museum and the cultural arts together, and it would be south of the hotel into that area for development. There's actually planning in that. I found the schematics of it, but I don't know. And then they were also talking about putting a tunnel underneath Ross Fork to come from the hotel, going underneath the Ross Fork and over to the museum.
Yeah, that's something that, it could be done, but it needs to really be decided like now, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to coincide all this construction with the exit 80 reconstruct, and that's going to begin this fall. And what we really want to do is kind of coordinate it to where the winning contractor that gets the exit 80 reconstruct would hopefully maybe we could incorporate them here, so when they do the painting, we'll do all the subsurface work here and then get it ready, and then just have them just continue paving. Because they're gonna paint or the approach down to about right here. And we can save a lot of money and not have to bring another contractor in, because we don't have a paver, and we usually contract that out anyway. And if we have one on site already, we can just keep them, we don't have to pay mobilization or nothing like that. We can have them just kind of continue through and finish it, get it all done in one shot, and it'll be nice and continue, or it'd be nice and uniform all the way through there, instead of having a meat line and stuff like that over there. And so that's kind of the goal. And they're almost ready to put this thing out to bid. And so that's a kind of a big change order to put a big culvert or something underneath it for pedestrian safety. Do you guys get much, I guess, interest in walking across the road? People ask you all the time, like, you guys have a walking path around here for the hotel, so like something to go do, things like that?
no, we have kind of ample walking space, and the way that our parking's set up, it's actually a pretty big jaunt just to get into the property anyway. So, but I haven't ever heard anybody question about that. Our grass areas, I have seen, and I do know that people use that just kind of recreation, get out, stretch their legs, let their dogs go poop on our grass, that type of stuff. But as far as crossing the road and visiting the museum, I haven't seen a ton of that. And I think with a better design and more kind of structured, we probably would see an increase in people visiting that and improving the signage. So.
Okay, you kind of got a mock up.
Yeah, do you have the preliminary report that Jimmy did that we can put up, or?
Hey, Jim, are you there?
Because, I mean, I have it, I can open it. I can send
Let me
it.
unmute. I'm here.
Hi, Dave. Excuse me. Haven't been filming this. Yeah, that's kind of what he's been working on, a big conceptual. Oh, good.
Do you want me to send you that report over, Brooks, to your email? Or do you have it?
The old parking lot looks rough.
Hey, Brooks, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
So looking at the dirt work on the aspect of doing this project, if whatever phases it's gonna be, you're talking about traffic and, foot traffic and whatnot.
Mhm.
But how about for like lighting and that, like on the sidewalks or whatever we decide on? I don't know what phase that would be.
Well, and to give you guys kind of an idea, the tribe has received a lot in ARPA money. And this one here is one of their top priority projects they want to do. So this is gonna get done. And in the cost estimate, we had put lighting, street lighting all the way down for the sidewalks and stuff. And they're gonna redo those sidewalks, they're getting pretty busted up and stuff.
Yeah.
So he's got a conceptual plan of kind of what they want to do here. And what that would do is connect, and this would have like a meandering water, walking path in it. And it would swing clear to the back, and then reconnect on Eagle and come back. So you have a continuous walking path around the whole thing for your, I guess, customers.
Where's our outdoor amphitheater at?
Kind of jumping ahead here, but
Yeah, I gonna say.
let me finish next thing. This is something else. So this is the number one project for Tribe to do.
Yeah, Stone Temple Pilot's coming, come on.
Is
Et cetera.
this utility
Working on
corridor.
Creed.
That'd be good.
I just emailed you the link so you can download it because it's too big to email.
Okay. So this utility corridor is gonna connect on Eagle Road. And it's gonna carry sewer, water, telecom, and power. Essentially, it's all been upgraded already for when you guys did the development of the casino. So it's only gonna really carry telecom and sewer in it. It's gonna have a force main back here. It'll come over here, and it'll go across the interstate there. They're gonna throw that in. That's one of the very first projects they're gonna work on for ITD. And so they're gonna sleeve everything underneath the roadway there. So we'll have 4 lines for power. The whole intent of all this stuff is this area up in here is gonna end up being all housing development. I don't know if they're gonna be housing or mid-income housing, this still needs to be decided. But they'll have the potential to do that with this gas, water, and sewer. This all came about because the wellness center, we don't have enough gas in the area. We pretty much maximize it with the casino and hotel. And so what we're gonna do is put a high pressurized steel line from the gas plant up there. It's about a mile east of the casino. It'll come all the way here and then it'll go to a low pressure from Bannock Road all the way to right in here. And so that opens up gas, or there's enough there to put almost 160 homes up in that area. They're gonna have gas, sewer, water. That'll get a secondary leg over here. So if someone hits the water line and stuff up there, you guys won't lose water. It'll also help increase water flows. We had talked with, we went out and Kelly, he's the utilities director, by the way. The new utility director. We did some hydrant flow testing. So there were some issues with, you guys don't have enough of fire suppression. The tests come back showing that it's good, but we want to do another test when we have high consumptive use for water in their lawns and things like that, just to make sure. The initial results look like we'll probably have enough. And then when we add the secondary line, it'll only increase the flow. And so anyway, that'll be able to develop all this area. And then, so what I was thinking is to tie in with your project. So when we go back in here and we dig all this out, we could put that walking path here, because it'll carry clear to you. Whenever your project gets funded,
I like that.
you can connect. And then that would stand all the way back behind your guys' thing here.
Or
You can make a
RV park.
nice little roadway for moving people from the, I don't know, the RV park or something like that.
Mhm.
And it'll continue clear over to Eagle Road.
This walking path that we're proposing to go the utility corridor down the road and across Ross Fork back to the museum and the old TP gas site is including benches, lights. So it's all unified and almost
Got
same
a
looking
total
field.
distance on that? Is it about a mile or?
It's just, yeah, I don't, wait, I do, but I don't. I do, but it's not right now. Top of my
Gotcha.
head. And so then we've had the University of Idaho worked with the cultural department to develop a blueprint for the museum that you were talking about. And we had the conceptual work done through a Greening America EPA grant for the old TP gas. So what the goal is from like an economic development perspective is you want a boundary, you know, a sense of where commerce happens. And we don't have that currently on the reservation, just kind of sprawls out. So by having the walking path tie in where the development and economic activity is happening, it gives users, tourists, you know, commerce, a sense of direction as they come in, that these are the appropriate places to go. And it enables to tie enterprises activities together with the hotel and casino better and with the museum. So just creating that consistency all around. And we're working on a master plant list and tree list for development also, so the landscaping elements are just standardized. So any estimates you do, you just pull it off this list and have, you know, the appropriate trees and all that already determined. We're trying to standardize things so that as projects come up, it's reusable, you know, boilerplate standards for the elements that are low hanging fruit instead of running around trying to get stuff done.
What page is that, Jim?
Just scroll down towards the end.
Hey Brooks, it's Danelle. I have a question in the chat box, and that is, I thought TOEM was to be eventually combined with Fire and EM and moved to Eagle Road. Is that plan no longer in place?
I remember the same thing, but I don't know. That's just what I've been told with Jeff here. Jeff probably could enlighten us with that.
I know Tome doesn't want to move, but from the planning perspective, it would be ideal to be able to put in some sort of enterprise activity there that could feed off the tourist population, that would also feed off the museum, and then you would have some synchronicity, some big word between the two of them. Right now, there isn't really a family-friendly place to pull in. And so all the traffic that goes by on the interstate just keeps going. But by having this park space, and if we're to develop where Tome currently is, into something designated for that tourist and commerce activity, there would be that synergy between the three of them, the casino, hotel, museum, and that enterprise activity. And then, which also enables more traffic, it encourages more traffic to come in, spend more money, but then also the vendor booths there and the vendor activities there would be more successful because it would also be tied into this more general traffic flow.
I think what the
Yeah,
issue
so
on
it
that.
sounds like it makes sense. I don't know why the tail is wagging the dog at this juncture.
I'm not sure of that reasoning.
Danelle, I think
Yeah.
probably too, gotta look at, it's no different than our facility. Once where you're using, federal dollars, and like where they would just bought with that, their place that they have over there, I think they have to stay in there for 5 years, I believe. So that's another issue with that.
Yeah, I've heard that some of the stuff with the COVID money,
Yeah,
that purpose has to stay for the duration of 5 years before you can repurpose the building.
right. And 5 years, it's already been 1 year, 1.5 since that Tome building was purchased. And so if we're looking at 3.5 years out, that's about the time that we could build up an appropriate site for Tome to move into and transition into it. I mean, not all this is going to happen overnight. The build out on these grants that we're applying for is 3 to 4 years from the award date. And we want to take the opportunity with them because this type of money isn't coming down the road again. So all the federal agencies they're doing a good job, surprisingly, to working with the tribes to encourage successful applications. And it's an opportunity to get that foundation settled for the next 20 years of development.
What's your thoughts on this, Ray? That's probably the first time you've seen it.
No, it is.
Because that takes a lot of your parking up.
No, it does. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with that space there because we have a lot of truckers who come and park in that and use it overnight. And so when I first started in this position, I'd show up at weird random times and I'd kind of scope things and observe. But I also noticed that there's times when these guys, they stop here and then they get out of their trucks and then come in the building. And so I don't really want to be one that bites the hand that feeds us. And but I do like that. I think it's a good layout. Just a suggestion, maybe something kind of cool. It would be nice if there was some sort of water feature, just from an economic standpoint. Soon as people pull off the interstate with the intent of coming to game, we're making money. So we're generating revenue. We simply capture it when they come in the building. So however much excitement that we can create on the exterior of the building, whatever that behavior comes is definitely going to be a positive on the inside of the building. So, and again, that was kind of one of my focuses. But once I realized that there were other things going on, I kind of pulled back with the exterior stuff and we're focusing on the interior right now. But I do like this, but I would think it would be cool if there would be some sort of water feature, maybe even like a splash pad type of thing to address, people with families, little kids.
Yeah.
And again, we are working on some ideas with the northeast side of the building with our spa and kind of creating more of an environment out there as well. But just tying this all in, I love the fact that you guys are doing the walkway. I think that's way cool.
There's some, pull this back up here.
So
Just real quick, while we have that up, one of the things too, it's gonna interfere with is our outdoor concerts.
Yeah, that's
Because a lot of that parking lot, that upper parking lot's utilized for that. If we put trees in there, it's gonna limit things, access to those trucks that pull in there.
Yeah.
We use that, where all the greenery is for reserve parking, which isn't an issue. But yeah, that would probably be a concern once we get into that case.
we can easily move, the tree line so it gives more privacy against the interstate. To just kind of soften this, move it away from the parking lot. And a lot of the, one of the things that gets you points on these grants under the Biden administration is using elements that reduce heat sink effect, heat island effect, and help with runoff, so permeable pavers. And I don't know if you've seen them, but the grass parking lots that are a grass field, but then also a parking lot for overflow. They're really encouraging adapting those type of technologies into projects. And so if we, have all consensus on this and move forward, we can definitely look at incorporating even those grass strips in the middle, maybe, turning those into permeable.
This is light years ahead of what we currently have. So, but like Lyle said, we are onto something with our outdoor concerts and kind of learning and getting better at them. But, at the end of the day, parking, like we can make other arrangements as far as parking.
Right.
But compared to what we have, that looks really, really beautiful.
And little tweaks here and there could make it a really nice outdoor space for
Yeah.
concerts and events.
Yes.
So they have that nice grass space to sit and watch a concert.
Well, and like I said, I don't know if it's a doable thing, but like a splash pad, I don't know if you guys have been to like Gateway in Salt Lake when they did the Olympics, and they had that splash pad. But at nighttime, it also doubled as like a light show.
Yeah.
And, you know, something like that, something of that caliber, I think would be really sweet. And again, I think it just builds to the excitement when people come into the building, and again, the more excited they are, the more money they spend. So
Yeah, I lived down in Phoenix and Scottsdale, Tempe area for a while, and they have a
Yeah,
lot
talking
of
stick.
those type of structures just in downtown.
yeah,
So it's a sidewalk, and then all of a sudden it turns on, and
yeah. Well,
you
and
want to pay attention because
well, even in Chubbuck near Stewart Park, that little splash pad they have, that's brought a lot of value to that little goofy neighborhood. And, you know, people utilize it. And I mean, I know it's free and whatever, but it attracts people. People go there. And so if we kind of model that and do something here, I think it'd be great. But again, just suggestion, something that we were going to look into once this was done, but if we could incorporate it and or if anybody gets consensus on it, because like I said, I mean, it really deals with the excitement of people. And I mean, really, we're making money as soon as they pull off the interstate. We're making money. We just how much can we capture once they come in the building? And
Just to give you an idea too, Ray, there's an actual potential for a really nice water feature, like a little lazy river or something like that, just
Yeah.
because we have irrigation canal that comes across and then it goes underground, and the pipe crossed over to here, but I mean, it's something that you can go
Yeah.
underground and actually utilize it, come down and then shoot it back over. So, I mean, you might want to explain to him what these are too. You know?
yeah, ideally,
are those covered?
covered, solar powered.
That's a good idea.
Feasibility is not, there's no return on investment. You
Yeah, 'cause we don't
lose
get the tax
major
credits.
money.
Yeah.
Because it's just the payoff on them on a small scale isn't.
Yeah, so Randy L had talked about a few months back doing some like electric car, like Tesla charging
Yep.
stations. And again, part of my pullback on that was I wasn't exactly sure what was going on with this, exactly what we're talking about. But again, maybe we kill two birds with one stone and look at that while we're doing this at the same time. Because again, I think there's value in that.
There is ASU, where I went to school, they're all solar now.
Yeah.
Every time they build a parking space, they put solar over it. But to do that, they had to build up the infrastructure to be able to handle the charging, discharging, batteries and all of that. And so this conceptual plan was appealing to us for a couple of reasons. One is to get that planning done to be able to increase our solar and alternative energy or renewable energy inputs.
What if we put it on a roof too?
Well, exactly. So if we can get the infrastructure set up and the batteries and all that figured out, which costs money to do that study, a lot. But then the roof, future parking, the pathways, all of that can be incrementally tied into that microgrid. There's also, at the time we were working on this, there was a lot of activity. I don't know if it's just anecdotal, but of truckers coming into that parking lot and turning around and ripping up the parking lot or just parking there where they shouldn't be. And having those panels there would create a height limit that would limit the truck traffic to, a very designated path. So ideally, we can build this so that trucker traffic that's so important, we can direct them to the places where they generate the most revenue by building the environment to direct that traffic just naturally. But they don't have to think about it.
Gotcha.
Some other things you guys should probably think about when Lyle's talking. You're gonna continue to use this space for outdoor concerts and stuff. Maybe you ought to think about putting a small building in here for your concessions, things like that. You're not having to rent or reset up every time you just close the door. And then also make sure you have enough power in there. When we do this utility corridor, it might be something that we might want to look at least stubbing out for it. You got probably run a 3-phase tower, right? Freaking big generators in.
Yeah.
To run your stage and stuff. So that's probably something that you need to think about pulling down. We can at least stub it, or if it's something we want to move forward through and we do it, it might be the time to do it. And then that way you just have it and then kind of figure out where you want to continually put your stage at and make sure that we're stubbed out for that. And like I said, whatever you do, concessions or alcohol sales, whatever, Where you have a building, you can just close up.
Do you know, Brooks, that on the south side, where you guys are gonna be removing that air station or that tower?
Oh, yeah, nobody here.
So there's also those booths that people go and sell beadwork. Is there a plan to relocate that? Maybe move it closer to the casino?
So the plan for, can you go to the page for the museum? So there's two answers to that. The original plan that we were working on when I first got here in 2019 was along your eastern side.
Yeah,
There's that green strip
yep,
and putting in a small strip mall there for vendors, for tribal member vendors, and also for concessions and whatnot. That if there's that walking path and people are coming in, it's out of the way, but on the path, so it's easy access. And with the parking over there, the back parking lot, also easy access, and nothing big, but big enough to do concessions or small beadwork, stands, that type of stuff for events and for high flow, high traffic days.
okay.
And that resonated with a lot of the people we talked about. There's a lot of small businesses that want vendor space.
Yep,
And there's a complaint that the current vendor space is just, it's too far away. It's not visible. There's no signage. It's kind of,
yeah.
the parking lot's filled with water and
Well,
seagulls in
I
there.
think it brings tremendous value to bring that closer to our casino patrons, because again, it's cultural, it's who we are, and again, just kind of giving a thought. Oh, so that's what you guys are going to develop?
This is the initial plan, right? And so to expand, so we have a walking path around with, covered picnic areas,
Yeah,
a station and back, what is it called?
okay,
Pergola, Noah, whatever, where you can sit around and they can do cultural events like a little fire pit, covered fire pit in back. And then the design, if Brooks scrolls down a little further, it's all basically, if you're standing there and you think about where the tribes have been over the years and point in those directions, the landscaping reflects that. So as you walk around, you're walking through the ancestral lands in terms
Oh,
of
okay.
rocks and landscaping
okay,
and
okay.
plants.
Oh, I like that.
Can
And
I add something on this?
yes,
Is planning here at all, any other people? You are?
Yeah.
You work with, Duncan and those guys over
Yep.
there? Okay. First of all, my name's Arnold. I'm with, Tribal Office of Emergency Management.
nice to meet you, I'm Jeffrey.
This is what we're talking about, this parking lot and putting this in here.
Yep.
And our office is right here. Anytime we have an emergency that Tom needs to be opened up, this parking lot fills up
Right.
with at least, 40, 50 cars, just like when COVID came, we had this all filled up with military and all that. So, there's an issue there with that.
Exactly.
And then, of course, here, this is the museum, but cultural arts, their building is condemned. And so they want to go ahead and add a new structure here. And so planning was looking at that, and Duncan was talking about that as well. Well, I come from the fire department. I've been in the fire department for 21 plus years. And I'm also, used to be your fire marshal as well. I used to come in and check all your buildings, stuff like that. This building is actually, doesn't meet fire code because all of the fire systems are outdated, obsolete. This is like it was with Tempe Hall when we condemned that.
Yeah.
And so cultural arts building is the same way too. It's got walls in the basement falling in, so they're looking for a place too. So they want to build here. Well, because of our issues with the museum and putting in the cultural arts here, it cuts this out. So we have an issue with that.
Right.
And so what we did is right now, this is on hold. Right now, from my understanding, this project is on hold until we can figure out what we can do. So what we were thinking, when Pumpkin was there, he was saying putting all this stuff over on the other side to the hotel side, so it's easy access for people to get into this versus trying to get across that road right now.
So your traffic flow, it's an issue, especially if there's an emergency
The
and
parking lot.
there's an
and-
event.
And that driveway going behind us, because that driveway goes behind us, and it goes right to our buildings. We have all those generators, plus we have one new generator that's coming in 2 months that's gonna be put there. So those generators are going to be right next to that driveway behind Tom.
And that's why we're talking 3.5 year, 4 year plan right now. Ideally, from a point of economic development, this is prime property. It's easy to get funding for it because of Ross Fork Creek. In the plan, we're doing some restoration on Ross Fork Creek to make it friendly and, terraced gardens and stuff down to it. Because it's a death trap now with those steep embanks.
Yeah.
But it is prime property. And so if you have an emergency and have 50 people coming in and there's an event at the time, or it's a high traffic flow area, there's going to be a lot of bumping heads.
Exactly.
So the original plan, well, the plan was to move you guys with the fire department, wherever the fire department
That won't
goes.
happen.
You don't know that won't happen.
This already been discussed.
Well,
And council's involved in it right now. And I'm not saying anything other than I'm only here because my directors
yeah, absolutely.
out of state, so that's why I'm here, but I've listened to all these meetings and stuff. And according to us, we are gonna stay where we're at, because they were talking, well, we're gonna move you down on the corner down farther, and that's great, but who's gonna fund that? And like you were saying, all of our money is DOE money coming in, that's directly specific to certain departments. You
Yep.
can't use it to move.
Right.
Stuff like that. So to my understanding and my director's understanding, and even Pete, that we will stay at our location until we can find a better resolvement, or something can come up that we can actually move. But no, we're not gonna be put in with another department like fire department or anything like that. And the reason is because we need to be outside because of what our department involves with the tribes.
Yeah.
Okay, we can have shooters down at the festival. We got wildland fires up here. We've had a nuclear incident on its side involving nuclear cast on I-15. So the location is perfect for us where we're at. So as far as I know, we're gonna stay there as long as we can. Not saying that we're not gonna change and that it can change, but for right now. And like you said, this is about 3 years down the road.
Yep.
So, yeah, 3 years.
Starting
a
now,
long
but
time That could happen, but that's just what I'm coming from, and my
Exactly.
director has mentioned to me.
And so with the development that Brooks is pointing at on the other side of the interstate, where the utility main is going across on the east side of the interstate, and I would suggest, we look there there's a lot of space on that side that would have good access with a rebuilt interstate exit entrance and a lot of space, all the utilities you want, and still have that outdoor visibility and functionality, but without being crowded in. Because I would hate to, none of us would want to see the museum packed because a tourist bus stops in and then there's an emergency and people can't even get into your facility. And with the traffic flow, what we're hoping to design this for is to really make a lot of money and bring a lot of people in. And so bringing a lot of people in and then having a necessary emergency service function like you have, it's important you be in that area. But what we want to do is try to eliminate that cross traffic. So I would think it's worthwhile talking about that east side and seeing if we can develop a facility out there, get the land set, the utility corridor will be dropping down. And maybe look over there, because like I said, there's a lot of space.
All this will be prime area. This is all tribal owned except for this little spot like right here. And then eventually this could be bought. I think this one here is tribal. There's a section in here that's.
The one,
The middle one,
The middle one's.
the middle one's tribal.
uh,
So then you can have a helicopter landing pad, fire engine for National Guard space. Everything over there. And all the traffic going in and out of it wouldn't touch the trucker traffic or tourist traffic or local residential traffic around the Fort Hall development site. So if we can get on board with that and then start looking for funding, get it planned out, get a site plan and location of what all your dream needs are, we can look at these funding mechanisms that are coming out and start looking for alternative funding sources than what you have now.
So what happened to the thought of the actual water park and also the golf course that was talked about years ago? Whatever happened to that stuff? And
Then when they moved on from before I got here.
and when I first came in, I've been at the tribes since 2001. and I've seen the planning and development and all this stuff, the infrastructure. But there's been a lot of money that we put into these engineers and these people come in here to
Yes.
the infrastructure to be built, and then all of a sudden we just rip that pay out, throw it away, and now we're doing something else. And we're paying a lot more money for people to come in, you know, and it's just really astounding and disheartening to me to see all this money come in and be thrown away, and then just moving on to from plan A to plan B, and now we're down to plan Z now. You know, it's really,
Yeah,
you know, and like with the hotel, I mean, there are what, three, I don't know how many rooms you have. It's supposed to be like 600 rooms or something. There were different phases that we had, you know, first with the hotel, with what they had right now, and then we're supposed to add on to that. And then after that was done, we were gonna do the water park, and after that was done, it was supposed to be the golf course. All this stuff was put out there, and a lot of money was put into it. And all of a sudden now, since I've gone into Tillman, I apologize, I've only been up there for 3 months. But I see a lot of things coming across, and I go, whatever happened to these ideas and all these things that we had for the future? And now we're moving on to different things now, and I'm just like, wow.
yeah, and I think we've all noticed that. You're absolutely right. And part of the problem is that when the master plan was developed in 2015 to 2017, it was just generalized, like commerce here, water park here, event center here, with no details in it. And so it was very project oriented. Like, this is a project. The golf course is a project. The water park is a project. And then as council changes and leadership changes and funding sources change, all of a sudden that project can just be eliminated and not affect anything else. And so everyone has gotten into this very siloed worldview of, I want a building for my project here, right? And that's understandable. What we're working on now is meeting like this, getting the needs of the departments and doing a plan in a manner which the funding sources and the uses are connected together so that there's some more stability. So instead of just pulling out because it makes sense to move this now, you know, 5 years down the road, it might not make sense. But if we tie them together and integrate it, so like the walking path and everything physically and purpose-wise, that we have it integrated and have the funding, all the planning set aside. So as funding comes in, it fixes up the utility corridor, which then helps future wellness center, future business park, helps the casino, hotel, all those projects are tied to it. So, you know, having that more holistic vision. And so we're working on that plan right now, because through the CARES Act and the ARPA funding and now the infrastructure bill funding and the new spending measure that's going through Congress right now, everyone's now thinking like, oh, this is what we can do as a department or as a program. Let's go after this money. And people have a much better sense now of what their business or your department can do than 5-10 years ago. And so now that, you know, the blinders have been kind of pulled off, like, hey, if we had a $10 million grant, what could we do? Taking those big picture needs and integrating them all together. Because you're exactly right. It's just this flash in the pan. All this money is thrown in. You know, there's all the studies put into a oil changing station, a full service station, you know, all the way down to the engineering, the business plan, everything, complete project went out the window. But, you know, just that itself, you know, now would have paid for itself because of just the fleet of the tribes getting oil changes in town is all money that is leads and having that here, but it just disappeared. There was the plans for the recreation park that got replaced by the wellness center. There's a movie theater, big multiplex plan. And so by just having that non-integrated, just, hey, this would be cool to have here. It is a good idea, but now let's tie it into the big picture, agree on it, solidify it. So as we move forward, we all know what's happening. And there's good reasons behind what we're doing collectively.
And let's be real, what drives a lot of these projects is funding. And, you know, all this COVID money, all these different funding sources are coming down, really changed the direction of where these projects went. But the good thing about it is, with this ARPA money and everything, it's all infrastructure driven. So what we need to do is make sure that we have a backbone, we have the support structure to actually go for these bigger projects that we're talking, economic development. Like in my mind, all this area, the tribe needs to purchase it. This one, this is tribal. Because this will open up for outdoor venues, for concerts, things like that, or even an outlet mall or something.
Put that in
Well,
the budget.
So we try to address that with this utility corridor. So we're gonna have a lift station here. This will be all gravity fed over here to
Have to do it.
service this entire area. And then they'll have a lift station here pumped up and be a forced main all the way over to Eagle Road. And then that'll service this. So if this ever gets developed, then we can just tie into that force main and shoot the sewer and stuff over to Eagle Road, and then might as well roll into that. And the next item is the lift station relocate. So as you're all aware, let's see here. We have this lift station down here on the corner. We've been having some problems with it. The plan is to actually try to relocate this to the center of this pivot. That'll make this entire economic development area usable. So like the wellness center goes in here, fire station, if it goes there or there, everything gravity fed here, it'll be forced up to the housing there and then shot back over. And so that force main will come over here and then tie into the lift station here. This will carry over here. But there are some concerns here that I wanted to bring up. Kelly's been having some issues
Yeah.
with that lift station.
Yeah, there's a lot of grease coming in and garbage, so I think what we need to look at this point is, as long as this funding is available, we need to re-engineer the grease interceptors that aren't doing their job. I think the water's coming through. They're somewhere over by the casino.
They're not, is this, you know, if the, I don't know. You guys know what these are here?
I think that's probably a stormwater.
That's what I'm thinking for the.
basin for the
CPP
burning
gas,
lots.
right?
Yeah, because they have to catch runoff so that it lets out slowly.
Mhm. Gets rid of oil.
That's so big that that's almost got to be what that
For
is.
oil, right? Oil and
Well,
grease.
any new construction now, if you're covering up soil where rain can absorb into in a storm span, you have to have, if you're covering that up with asphalt or anything else or building, you have to have a place for that runoff to go without overwhelming your sewer system. So they build these underground stormwater catch basins that catch that water and then drain it out slowly so it doesn't overwhelm the system.
But getting back, Ray was getting some testing done, right? You're gonna have some.
We are, yes. So there, with our building permitting process, we have to do testing every so often. And so I'm kind of finding these things out as I'm new to the position. And so we're having our backflows tested. We're having FSI coming in and do testing. But as far as like the backflows and the grease runoff, we have that carted off. And Lloyd can kind of attest to that because we pay for that like twice a year, right?
Yep, to get pumped. But usually it's, from my understanding, when we share it with Enterprise as far as what flows into there.
Where's it at on there? Can you show us something?
Where
they're pumping there?
No, we actually have a company that comes in, takes our grease off property. So nothing from us is really coming in, but where they are, where it flows into.
There's two of them, right?
Yeah, there's two of them. So we have one that's right behind the hotel. So right where that little smoke shack is, it goes into there. And the other one is next to Bingo Concessions outside that door right here. So it's right here. So that's where it's flowing into. But I know a lot of times they were saying that it was our trash, our grease, but we don't have grease that flows into there because our grease is taken off property by filter.
But I mean, anything goes down
The drain, and then we got new traps and everything. So I know we've been
What's happening is the sheepskin or the casino, I call it the casino lift station, Ross Fork and Eagle Road lift station. It is getting a lot of grease in it and a lot of garbage. And so when this lift station's moved, and from what I understand, those grease interceptors will work because they allow the water to cool off and the grease to float out. But if the water's too hot when it runs through, that grease just stays liquid and it passes right on through. And I think that's what's happening. It's running down, clogging the pipes, getting into the lift station because it's not cool enough. So I think that whole grease interceptor system needs redesigned so that it functions properly. And then that's still not stopping a lot of garbage that's going into the lift station that can clog the pump. So whenever we set up the new lift station location, we need to have, and there exists garbage removal systems that'll catch the garbage and pull it out as the water is going in, so it keeps your lift station clean. So I think this is a good time to address issues like that to make sure that's funded.
Can we just take the sewer line, the new sewer line in the utility corridor and stub it off or bring it down to hotel, casino, the old casino, keep gas and just have it go up to that main?
The problem is it's a gravity fed system here. Let's see, zoom in here.
It's like all the casino is now going down to Ross Fork Eagle.
Yes, but see these right here, so it's gravity fed, right? From here to here, and utility corridor is gonna be north of it, it's gonna be actually uphill a little bit from it. So we can't directly go into it. And then the other problem is that's all paved, so it'd be a nightmare to try to tear it. I mean, it'd be a lot of money.
It's just so close, it seems.
But I think it could be reworked, like you're saying, maybe moved down or something so it cools some, right?
Yeah, we just need to look at a redesign so it functions properly because it's not functioning properly.
And maybe it could do something up in this area.
We could tie it into the water feature. Spray the grease up.
I was gonna say, on the little kids, right?
Yeah. Maybe a flame,
But I
like
guess
a
if you line
fire
this stuff
pit.
against like syringes, what are you getting down in there?
Oh, we're getting grease, garbage, any kind of garbage you can imagine that can fit down a pipe for a toilet, and syringes and all kinds of stuff in there. We haven't
That's
been able to
probably
get
us.
the lift station pumped lately because nobody will take the waste. And so I've found kind of a temporary solution where we can get basically a mobile garbage bin that's a straining unit that'll hold the solids out. And once it dries out, then we can take it to a dump. But if a sewage truck comes and pumps it right now and it's wet, nobody will take that waste anymore. So we've been sitting for quite some time, not even being able to pump that thing. But it's been an ongoing issue way before I got here, and it just needs really addressed
Properly.
properly and redesigned so that it functions correctly. So it's not a problem down the road. It's just a huge maintenance issue.
So I guess in a nutshell, what I'm kind of saying is probably council's gonna be meeting on these projects. And it probably wouldn't hurt if I can get some support like for Kelly's project. I think that's something that we should probably look at, trying to maybe bump up that project amount that he's asking for the redesign of that lift station down here. Because we're still gonna have problems with grease getting down in here. If you're gonna dress it up in here somewhere. Like the relocate, in reality, what it does for us is it opens up that entire area up here for economic development or moving the fire stations or towing and stuff in this area.
Could we build another casino there?
Yeah, I mean, it's all travel. It's all doable, but it'll open this up for all kinds of development, but it doesn't solve the grease problem. Grease problem's still gonna get over there, so.
Electric car chargers. You have a drive up machine, casino machine. So you drive up, you're waiting for your car to charge, and you gamble. Drive gaming.
Yeah. I haven't heard anything. Have you guys ever talked to them?
I've been suggesting, I don't know. Everybody wants to tear it down, but nobody wants to displace the people that are in it. So
Yeah,
right
we
now, there's
We have probably 40+ employees that work in that building, plus the gaming commission. And then as far as our fiber, isn't the fiber piped into that building? So that would be a pretty significant cost to move that. But right from regulatory wise, the gaming commission's they're gonna fight for that staying a gaming property until there's a plan to relocate them. So
well, one of the things we've been discussing, just informally, so
Yeah,
no
that too.
decisions, but right now, tribal health's IT, the tribe's IT, your IT are all separate entities.
correct.
And if we had a facility, I'm thinking like the records building, that was big enough to house all of them, plus create the separation that's needed and have room for tribal ISP as that gets developed, hopefully. And all the infrastructure could be shared, the redundancy for fiber and redundancy for power could be in one facility.
Yeah.
And plus the staffing, as your staff increases, IT staff always tends to increase. Tribal health, there can be more co-learning and development, problem solving.
I just see what's going on with cybersecurity right now. Like, it's absolutely blowing up, so.
And tribal health is going through that right now as they upgrade
Yeah.
their system. They have to meet the federal's
Yeah.
top secret standards. So they're
Oh,
going
yeah.
through that too.
Yeah, it's,
So we have all these people providing necessary services, but they're separated right now. And the IT building, my building, it just sucks.
yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, it's,
Are we still marrying 3 different technologies, analog, digital, and?
I think there's
IT?
carrier pigeons thrown in there and some smoke signals and
Yeah.
a lot of Morse code. You think those flashing lights are digital? but
Yeah,
they're-
yeah, we got,
Something's not gonna happen.
yeah, but I know, we got our new insurance for cybersecurity and it went 400%. You know, because all these properties that are getting hit and as the majority of payouts and stuff increases premiums for everybody. So we're currently looking at that. And I got people working on it, but you're absolutely right. You know, it needs to be looked at seriously because the risk that's involved with the entire tribes, if the tribes were to get hit.
It's just like north of the old casino. I mean, infrastructure wise, with the utility corridor up there, and we're trying to get fiber down I-15 and 90, we're trying to get multiple sources of fiber coming in. And so if we could draw them all in and have, like I was saying, redundancy in electricity and fiber.
So we were contacted by Drew Ezat with Direct Communications. And what they had told me is they're working with Idaho Transportation Department where they're trying to bore in the center of the interstate to go north. And so, but they're trying to use that right away. And so he was trying to meet with my IT people. And that was one of the things that I was like, oh, that sounds like a fantastic idea to get fiber internet out here. So, I don't know if you guys
We have
have reached out
in
to
the
them.
final stage of a review for the tribal broadband connectivity program. It's a $22 million ask. And we just cleared the final steps. So we're doing an enormous amount of work in the next 2 weeks, trying to get all the numbers adjusted because we included cellular towers, which they won't fund. So we have to do some adjustment. But
So
we're,
the Verizon tower's not going in?
no, that's separate. That's separate.
Okay.
And land use is being land use about that.
Gotcha.
But you know, what we're looking at is if we put a cell tower capacity at Bannock Creek Lodge and Berry View and Ross Fork and Lincoln Creek, then we'd eliminate all the dead zones in the area. So that's what we were hoping for. But they've eliminated that. So if you can give me that name, I'll reach out to him.
Okay.
Because we're working with Idaho Regional Optical Network, IRON, which is the nonprofit that runs all the fiber that connects universities together and public institutions. And if we can connect to their fiber, which would have to connect to American Falls, Pocatello, or Idaho Falls, if the tribes can connect to it, then it's at wholesale price, which is about 1/10 the price compared to getting it from DirecTV or CenturyLink, or because all those bills you pay, 90% of it goes to infrastructure buildup, right? And all that infrastructure buildup, it's all being done with point-to-point radios right now. And so all that money for infrastructure buildup just goes off res right away. And so what we're looking at is trying to build up this fiber network, connect with IRON to be able to get the security of INL plus the price of wholesale. There's a lot of advantages to being able to connect directly to them.
Ray, are you guys still point to point for your internet service?
Do you know what?
Bannock Peak is.
Bannock Peak is, and
Bet you guys still are.
that's a good question. I bet you Sam would know the answer to that. I know the terminations. You know what? Maybe we're not, because I know all the terminations end in the old property.
Well, that's St. Chill. St. Chill, Idea Tom, they all came this way, shot up, and then they shot right over their old building. That's a
So-
direct connect.
Yes, yes.
We upgraded that.
Was all wireless.
No, we upgraded it to, White Cloud came in and put a fiber line in from TBC down Ross Fork, the wrong side of Ross Fork, but they fixed that. And they went down and, right to Enterprise, right where the entrance
But it-
is.
but it
Then it
turned-
cuts up to your building, goes over the roof and then enters in on the northeast side, I think.
In that, yeah, there's a telco room up there. So, but we switched to digital servers, so virtual machines. So whether we're direct connect, I'm not sure. I'd have to ask one of my IT peeps, but
Maybe all you got left of is Bannock Peak that way.
Bannock
Sounds
Peak
like
is for sure, because I know they're on their own dedicated stuff and it's not really sufficient. So that's one of the issues that we're having.
Well,
over
what I'm
there.
saying, well, the reason I bring that up, so when we do this utility corridor, maybe that's something we look at is just coming down here, because if we do this relocate, we're gonna have to come down here anyway. And maybe we can put that conduit in and then we can have idea or whoever, come in and relocate your shield. So you're direct connect to the main building, and then you can.
Sam, do you know the
disregard
answer to that
old
question?
Fiber in here.
Our fiber terminates in the old building.
Whoever the tribe had come out to do that underground from, I wasn't at the project from Sage to the old property.
It was
So
idea.
So anyway, they never finished. Greg was involved, I was, we called Ted. I think Ted said he found the actual box. So at the corner where the old bingo's at, where that exit door is and the sidewalk, it's opened up. You know, security let us know for a safety concern, there's some gravel piled up with the pallet on top, but if you move it, you got your two undergrounds. Your two underground conduits, you got your two fibers going doing a single ENT going up to the roof and it's exposed. So then there was a pointing finger who's gonna button that up and it's still opened up right now.
Yeah, but that's your direct connect. It's still-
That, I would assume that's the
Yeah.
point of entry right there, but where it goes from there, I was not involved in it.
It goes clear on your server room. fiber.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
on the
Something
old
like right
side,
here.
yeah.
And it'll go right into your old server room, but, or I'm saying we could relocate that so you can have it all in your one building over there. Be probably a good time to.
I think it'd be, yeah, if we're gonna do it.
It comes right over, it comes right across to here.
Well, that's White Cloud did it a year and a half ago.
No, but
And
that's
they've brought it
direct
in.
for the casino.
And then
They didn't
there's this
necessarily-
IdeaCom one that's from 2000 something. It's older.
Yeah.
It still needs to be filled in, but I would assume that's your point of entry.
Yeah.
So did they-
Building.
They
Was it-
make that connection? Can we do it?
Was it Ideacom or CenturyLink?
It was IdeaCom back in the day.
So White Cloud
It's a
dug up
private-
the old line by the festival grounds because it cuts down Ross Fork there. And it was just direct buried, no conduit. So they patched it up and then they laid their own line that connects TBC down Ross Fork, connects the museum, Tome, and then it goes into the casino.
So they did make that connection. You're telling me they were
Yeah.
somewhere down on the old festival somewhere? Is that where they broke into it?
They broke in, because there's no lead wire on it, or find wire, whatever it's called. And so they didn't even know it was there. There's no maps of it.
Who's your point of contact? Who's your point of contact for that?
Naya? Sorry.
How many minutes- What company was it?
That was White Cloud,
White Cloud laid that. I thought they had someone.
but there's also rumors of an old line, so where that fee property is on Eagle, right where above the utility corridor, there's a fiber post there. And suppose, right, higher,
Right.
right, where's your, nope, south. South,
Oh,
south,
okay, okay.
south. Right there,
All right.
there's a fiber pole and a marker. And supposedly at one time, we haven't been able to find any right of ways, any built, as is or as built or anything, that it ran up Eagle Road to Sheepskin across, went under the tracks and then went up 91. No idea if that's true or not. We haven't been able to find it. We've gone out there, Silas and I have gone out there and driven around looking for spots, holes and anything, any sign of it, and we haven't found it. But supposedly that was the first fiber that was laid back in like 97, I think.
Oh,
But if you ever find any of these right of ways or any of that when we're upgrading, if we get this grant, which we hopefully do, we can utilize some of that money to upgrade that line from Sage Hill to your building. Because there are right of ways for that, upgrade it and then also use it for residential development, residential broadband.
So Greg's out of office. I told him I was gonna follow up. That's still open. I was gonna get with Ted. He's aware of it to get that box and close it up.
Yeah.
But you guys want it open to take a look at it, or what do you want? Cause Ted said he was gonna take it since the tribe's the one who was working with the contractor doing that. So I was just gonna follow up with him, but
Yeah, it'd be, I can have Silas, or ask Silas to go over and look at it, because he's the one that is the fiber
they
guy.
got it open because that's not direct burial. It's just in that, that flex tube in there.
Yeah.
But your two lines coming through your fiber lines. Need to have it in a box or something. It's
And they just come right up.
And a single EMP straight up the wall.
That had to be White Cloud.
That sounds like White Cloud work.
Because I showed them, put that fiber in, they wanted to know where it was at.
Yeah, I'll follow up with
guys,
Silas about that.
The company
Yeah,
talked about.
the company's
Clutch
talking about
Solution.
Oh,
solution.
that's right, Clutch.
Clutch did the line to TBC and Justice Center from the Lumen Shack next to BIA, and then White Cloud did the line from TBC to the museum.
Yeah, there was two contractors. Run two different
Oh,
lines.
and it was dramatic.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay,
Send me an email, give me heads up on that, then if I need to do any other follow-up.
Yeah.
Sam, so that gave me a call.
so great. Would that be something you guys want to do then? Would you
Sam and Showbam Gaming.
Private
Yeah.
fiber over, so it's all in the
Yeah.
one building?
Yeah,
I'll put it on something that we need to do.
And then if the cost could be shared, because council's now looking at IT and saying, we've been underfunding IT for. They did a little guess of this is about 1/5 of what a normal IT department that size runs on. And having a new facility would be ideal. But if we get all of them together, like I was saying, and it makes sense. Especially
there's gonna be some regulatory, I'll tell you right now, there's gonna be regulatory stuff where the gaming commission's not gonna want anybody having access to any gaming, anything. So that's gonna be a barrier for you guys.
Yeah, and the thought of that, just you build a firewall between the two, have separate entrances. But then the redundancy and the fiber and all of that stuff would still be there.
Yeah.
And if any problems come up with the local network or regional network, you have all the troubleshooters in one spot.
Yeah.
Because tribal health has very similar
Yeah.
restraints
jams that they do.
HIPAA.
Kind of my idea on the whole thing is let's just put the conduit in. And then all that stuff can get worked out. That way we're not doing it later. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If we
Or saying, hey, wish we would have done this
Yeah.
when we, yeah.
it'll be done and then we'll all be aware of it. So, and then that will, because to me, that old casino, everything that's in there is temporary. I mean, they didn't plan on putting them over there because the building collapsed. And there's still plans to build a new TBC somewhere down the road. And they'll probably migrate back over. That'll open that facility up to you guys, either to bulldoze it or to put something different in there. And then we've got the conduit in there. It's an easy switch over. So you can commission or you can build them a new building right there and they can still have access to it. You know what I mean? But it's already been thought out a little bit ahead. You know what I mean? That's kind of what my whole goal with this thing is, just want to be reactive.
And so if we stub out for knowing future development happening, like, so you know you're gonna do something north of the canal. Make sure you get that information to us, overestimate it so that we overbuild it.
Yeah.
The
That's a
same way
pretty-
there's a Eagle Park Business Park that we need to stub out so
Yeah.
that enterprise can come in and have all the utilities there. And
Well-
the utilities there, they're not gonna change. the
What
plans.
would be nice is to develop that, because believe it or not, that's actually, people use that for drugs. So, we are aware of that. And again, they kind of use that canal way.
This one.
Yeah. So it would be nice to start developing around it.
And it'd probably be nice to be lit, right?
Yeah, so we get the sidewalk down there,
Yeah.
light it up,
Yeah.
some security cameras up there.
Yeah,
And
it's,
then,
you're a lot easier to be seen coming coming from the south, but if you come from the north, it's just a big field. And so,
Let me ask you this, would it be worthwhile to put conduit in for data? So you can put cameras along the walk path for your surveillance?
yeah, that'd probably be a good idea. So, but like I said, we do know that walkway, that there's a path there. And we do know that drug dealers use that to, you know, and what's funny is you mentioned and maybe I should watch what I'm saying here, but we do know that a lot of the drug activity is in the bathrooms because it is away from camera coverage. We are working on putting employees in bathrooms. It's actually in the works right now and hiring bathroom attendants to try to address that. So that wouldn't surprise me if you're getting syringes and stuff probably coming from us. But that is something that does need to be addressed. And, you know, again, we're being proactive on things, but we are aware of some of the areas where it's coming in, and that is a hot spot.
Put drug dogs in the bathroom.
As long as they're selling cologne in there, that's all I care.
Yeah. So. Yeah. So, yeah. But I think that would help to deter. So we get better lighted and cameras, I think that'd be a good thing.
And that's, you know, part of the idea of tying it all together with using that pathway as the boundary for that.
So
It's because it's much easier to manage everything that's happening if there's a clear line of.
just so you know too, Jeff, you have all that plans here.
Yeah.
I think until you get funding on that, we're just gonna move forward with this plan here.
Yep.
And you could just tie in your walk path to go around it after that, just so you know. Okay.
Yeah, I do like the idea of pulling that back and making it all uniform. So I think that's a great idea. And expanding that road.
Another thing I think me and Jimmy was kind of talking about is pedestrian lights.
Yes, I was just gonna ask, are you gonna put a stoplight right there?
We're gonna run some studies on what our traffic flow looks like right now, like ADT numbers.
Yeah.
But I think for right now, what we want to do is just at least put in when they hit a thing, like the flashlight from the
Yeah.
pedestrians across.
Yeah.
And maybe project out.
With some flags that people could carry across.
I don't know about that.
Those turn into darts.
But you guys want-
Javelins.
Do they? Javelins?
Yeah. They don't last.
They stolen the first weekend, hanging on someone's wall.
Hey, Brett, you're talking about traffic. How about during the summer when we're, our peak hours in our bus routes, bus stops? That's gonna get heavy during the summer too.
Bus routes or.
The tourist
Well, you
bus.
know, like you see in some areas where they gotta pull off for a bus with the bus stop.
Yeah.
Or is that gonna stop right there at the lane and hold traffic up?
Well, it shouldn't, right now they're going to you guys' facility, right? Doesn't.
Oh, we're
Well,
talking
transit
school
does,
buses?
right?
Well, transit, our school, well, this more transit, like in front of like the gas station or something. Do they stop there? I don't know their actual stop location.
Richie would know. Richie. Just might be in the thinking in there.
I do think that
If we
They
do this
pull off
realignment,
into the parking and do it. I don't know.
they go right
If we-
into the facility.
if we do this realignment.
Yeah.
Do it back, we'll have room for the bike path, so there'll be areas for them to pull off and not hinder traffic.
Yeah. We got our Buffalo right there too in the corner. So.
Richie, they're asking about transit bus stops. Do you guys don't have a set route anywhere along Ross Fork Road, do you? They go either go to the casino or PP gas, right? Like you're saying?
On the corner and then the side building.
Okay. Like I said, we'll have that extra, that'll actually almost give it a full extra lane. It's gonna be kind of like agency road in a way. You'll have that bike path. And it's kind of there as in reserve, so if ever traffic gets a lot of traffic, we can always switch it over and make it a lane. And then you lose the bike path, then you got off.
So if you just make it a green belt, like off the agency that you're talking about, and then the trail can go through that, and then if the trail doesn't, trails are easy to rip up.
Yeah. I guess,
Good idea.
my idea too about some of this stuff is cameras and stuff. I mean, right now is the perfect time. I mean, if you want stuff down in front of that old property, you know, when we're working in there, maybe we need to throw a conduit in there, so you always have that ability to
Yeah,
throw additional surveillance cameras in. I mean, it's, I'm just bringing that up because essentially, I think that probably should be you guys' property for expansion down the road, you know what I mean?
mhm.
And then that way we don't have to go back in and rip stuff out to put things in later on. Oh, put that in my notes.
Just to make that whole parking lot grass pavers, nice big park. Like overflow into.
Yeah.
If we're trying to eliminate our drug traffic, I mean, I know it's not our property, but what about the pit behind the gas station? You get a lot of foot traffic through there too, or
It's
I know
That's a
that's.
different
there's
kind
a
of commerce
purpose for
going on
that,
over there.
right? That's a runoff or something, or?
Oh, that big.
The Seagull Pond,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a runoff from RV and the truck, everything.
yeah, we
Detention
use
pond.
it, so.
But I mean, they're using this road, aren't they, when they're doing it?
Yeah, people are walking through there. I know we had to chop off that path from the RV park before during construction because people kept walking back there. So like you'll find syringes and stuff all through there, that walkway.
I think cartoon over, it's one, two cops right there.
So Enterprise is looking at, that's designated for in the plan that Arnold was mentioning earlier from 10 years ago, is a business park there. And right now Enterprise, well, Sherwin is talking about putting in a strip mall type with some chain restaurants and Ace Hardware type store and building up the trading post so it's more elder friendly and easier access and expanding that. So when that happens, we're gonna have to put in a solution for that drainage pond and probably just a tried riverbed type thing with trees and stuff to centrally collect it, but not have it be an eyesore. And also be able to split up, you know, give some distance between the RV park area and that, you know, so just a big flats gravel pit.
In, looking at this, has there been any forethought for the firework vendors and where they're gonna be placed? Because that's usually where they go, right there.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Brooks is right in the middle of that.
We'll probably end up, I don't even think that far, but sitting there thinking, see here. Probably if that ever gets developed, it's probably gonna be out here until all this gets developed. You know what I
We've
mean?
been sending the fire department, we've been sending them down to the arena. You know, because there's seating there, and actually that would be a good place to send them, the vendors, because that would be localized, there's hydrants right there close. You know, and then, like I said, if they want to shoot them off, they can go inside the arena there and set them off. I don't know, but I know that right now, I have one of my vendors on me right now, it's like, what are you gonna do, and when can we start doing this, and they want meetings and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I think probably for the next 10 years, this is South Fork, Laurel, utility corridor, maybe you're walking down. And then they can figure out what they want to do in that whole area. I mean, the thing is, we'll have the infrastructure in to do any kind of development on down the road. So I just want you guys, so you're all aware of kind of where all you.
Yeah.
Kind of how we're tying it in. If there's any things that you might need, like for surveillance and things like that down the road, now's the time to do it, like, not worry about trying to do it later on. So if anything pops in your mind, like,
Yeah.
maybe talk to your people
Okay.
and ask them, you know, do you guys, would you like to have cameras here, or, you know, do we need to have more lighting or whatever, you know, whatever they're thinking, now's the time to really. I know at one time with Alonzo,
Like
there was a talk.
firework vendors, you can combine that into an outdoor event space so that the vendors aren't just a vendor, but part of a holiday event, you know, and a summer event.
So traffic flow too, for big trucks for your back of house and stuff like that. You know, maybe we should discuss, instead of just a walkway, I don't know, another kind of a road, access road back in here. So trucks can get in there, or they can pull through, and or even buses wrap around, so you're not taking all your parking up here, you know what I mean?
I mean, that would work too for our vendors and stuff, like when our food and everything comes in. It'd probably be easier
better
for them.
access.
They're not
Yep.
doing that really tight turn and crap, so they could just come in and
Yeah.
pull in and then back in.
Well, like I said, I mean, I kind of, in the beginning, I kind of had a love-hate with the truckers and the fifth wheels and all that use that parking lot. And then I started noticing that, man, they're parking there, but they're also coming in and utilizing the business. And so there will be that little bit of displacement. And again, so I guess in a way I kind of welcome it because we're generating money off of these individuals. So
This might be an idea, right? Why not have, you have some signage saying trucks this way,
yeah,
come around and we take this area out when they do this utility corner, pave it and then put diagonal truck thing there so the big trucks can just park like that. And then they can pull out and then get back out on the.
yeah, Brooks, that's actually not a bad idea.
Or you take the road next to Enterprise. I know that the Enterprise wants to update TP Gas. And if you update TP Gas to be more of a Sage Hill with some gaming, restaurant space, and then have the truck access road go up and then, utilize, the RV park, build next to it, trucker, fifth wheel type parking.
There's also all
Control
this
that
stuff out
traffic.
here maybe pave that and have trucking going this way, you know what I mean? So, there's a lot of.
I mean, ideally, you don't want the trucks pulling in front of the casino or through the parking lot where there's traffic, right? But you want them easy access to the facility.
Yeah.
So,
You know what, that area that you was just at there, that's the overkill and the overflow. That could probably be utilized as
Yeah.
well. I mean, that is a huge, I don't know, overkill on that.
Well, let's see, maybe this thing downloaded.
a lot of happy seagulls there.
So. This was kind of the master plan like, I don't know, 8 years ago. something like that. And that was kind of that idea to get rid of that. That big thing he's talking about here. So this would go all down, there'd be a stormwater conveyance system put in when all this gets updated, and then we'd have some type of lagoon here, roadway stuff, and then that would open all this area up to be developed,
Isn't that where the golf course was supposed to go?
way down south.
South off of,
South of the museum.
South of the
Eagle
museum?
But I mean, that's something that could still be developed down the road, because
Okay.
we're gonna have curb and gutter put in all through here, so we'll be set up for it. And then whenever we get money to develop through here, put that conveyance system in. Then we do Eagle Road, we can tie it all in together. But there's, talking about natural resources building in here, is that still the plan, Jeff? Natural resources still in this area?
No,
No, it's changed.
there's, so that's, Ross Forks is a Bannock Bingham County road line. And Bingham County is in a
Oh,
economically distressed compared to Bannock, so there's a lot of federal funding
Funding for that.
opportunities for Bingham County. So if they move it,
all across that side.
Yeah.
Get funding sources.
Don't we gotta pay Mavis Bacon wages south of Ross Fork Road? When we do big projects?
on
The
all
thing is,
federal projects.
all federal projects gotta pay Davis Bacon except ARPA. ARPA, you don't have.
Oh,
Dealing, rob them.
And they can be, if the tribe doesn't work and
Peanuts.
stuff. Yeah. all federal
nobody will want to
projects.
bet on it then.
But yeah, that was kind of the older plan. See, some of that's changed. There's thought about putting the roadways in here. So it's probably gonna be center pivot. Probably have still some type of main road. to go through.
So,
Stages.
so that's being slated for business, not residential?
Yeah, all this area is, at least that was the last plan. This could all be economic development area.
Okay,
And this was like the prime area down in here.
yeah.
Tribe really
Ideally,
needs to buy all this stuff south here, and that up there north, and then all this area too, because that's where everything's gonna be growing.
or encourage individuals to start their own businesses. Build out, but what, one of the appealing things about current planning, economic stuff is when you build a store, you build apartments on top of it for mixed use. And so we've been talking about that as, you know, the ability to have, if you have a shopping center, you know, on top of it, you could put 12 units. The parking isn't used much, you know, because each unit gets 2 spots.
Yeah.
That's what we But there's a desire for a lot of tribal members who want apartments and like young people and college students with easy access to
Well,
events and facilities.
that's one of the things that we're dealing with right now is a lot of our younger employees. When they go to try to find a place to live, it's like $1,200-1,500 a month.
Yeah.
So brutal.
So if we're able to put in, you know, 50 units,
Yeah.
40 units. Combination of 2-bedroom singles, studios, and then it's not taking up any more footprint. You can get more foot traffic and more commerce.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's about all I wanted to cover in a meeting. I mean, I just kind of wanted to make sure you guys are aware of what we were planning. You had any problems or concerns? Maybe just get back to me on those little items as far as fiber relocate. If you want to do that, we'll conduit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then also,
I do.
security people.
Yeah, I do like the idea of the road on the north side of the property
Okay.
with potential for trucker parking
Is
and
that being real easy? What he's talking to? I don't know. You probably didn't see me pointing it out. Carry, think the trucks either come in here for back of house service.
Mhm.
Services, they come here and we take this place out here and pave it and put diagonal truck parking in this, so when they come in and they can park, we go utilize the casino, or if they're served, they can back in, hit there, and then we just develop a road out to get back here.
You know, I think that was one of the original plans before, I think, talking about having access for deliveries and stuff.
yeah.
If you just take that road off of Ross Fork, either one of them, and that land that the tribes do own, that center section, you know, why don't we just put some parking, expand into that now? If you already own it, then there isn't necessarily a reason not to develop it now.
Well, the part that they do own in the back is actually right there where the canal is.
Straight up.
Straight up, yeah, straight up.
Yeah,
That part that's in that clearing right there, that's private,
yeah, and on the other side, on the there's like. on the-
more close to the
Yeah.
interstate, it's also private.
So if you pull in and have that unit in the middle being trucking parking and stuff like that, and turn
We'd
around
have
spot,
to, do a bridge.
or just bury the canal.
Yeah, you're looking down, right? You got all this area here.
Yeah.
Parking.
You have to build a bridge.
Well, what would be nice would be to build some like attraction type things, maybe some monuments, something to attract people. We've discussed like doing some LED monument type stuff, but again, what's going on with the interstate, with the bridges and stuff, we kind of pulled back on that. But again, just I'm looking more, what can we do to create excitement? What can we do to pull people off of the interstate? And again, so there is an opportunity there. And again, strategically, we're trying to, right now, we don't have activities for all age groups. So if you're young couples with kids, we really don't have stuff for you to do other than eat. And so, and then when you look at that strategically, then we're competing with everybody else. And so if we can come up with things that we can have activities for all age groups, it's just going to benefit the business. And so, but again, we do have a lot of things going on. We have a lot of irons in the fire, and so right now we're doing good. We're maintaining. So it's fun to see this stuff kind of come together and come to fruition. But I think these are a lot of really good ideas, and I like what you guys are doing, infrastructure, and again, I think stuff like this is really valuable. So
What, I didn't hit on this for you guys. This area here, I'm gonna have a conceptual of the residential layout.
when can we start buying land?
And then see this area down here, it's kind of a funky little spot, but with this ARPA money, it is set aside for, relieving the impacts of COVID and that provide, what do you call it, like daycare services is a big item in it. And so I had Jimmy and Horrocks Engineering to throw in a early or a daycare facility down in this corner here, which would benefit you guys.
We actually, we've been, Wild Horse Casino in Pendleton. They're doing some big things right now. The structure of their tribes, they're like a corporation. They're a little bit different, so they do things a little different. They actually have a daycare built into the facility that would be really a nice thing for us to have. And so I like the idea of the daycare there, but I also would like to incorporate a daycare in our future expansion plans.
The only reason I say it is because that money is there.
Oh, to actually have somebody build it.
Come out of casino funding, you know what I mean?
So if somebody wanted to just entrepreneur, they could use those funds? Or is it owned by the government?
Some of that was
Well,
meant for business development.
Yeah,
And the tribe just needs to set it aside. Well,
yeah.
I've been doing some reading on it, so.
So-
It actually is, but you gotta get the tribe to set aside some money, so we're gonna use this for business development.
It's a for-profit tribal entity, except for gaming.
Is it owned by an individual? No,
Gaming
you
can't.
can't. We'd have to do our own, so. But I mean, if there's an entrepreneur that's like, hey, I want to start a daycare, could the tribes tap into those funds and the individual use that?
Yeah, but like I said, the tribe has to set it aside for economic development, for job replacement, things like that. But the tribe could just do it themselves too. And that's kind of why I was putting this conceptual plan together, just to say like, hey, I know I've heard it many times from gaming that they wish they had people for daycare.
Yeah, we
for the
need it.
employees.
We
Yeah,
need it.
so does the tribe needs it too. And so like right now, it's a really good time, just use it, put it in. And also for like an internet cafe, because that's another thing. Getting broadband access for kids in school and things like that. I mean, there's money set aside to buy all kinds of laptops and stuff for kids, but I don't know if the council's gonna look at any of that stuff. But I mean, that's kind of what all this money was designated for, is to help, build up the infrastructure so kids can go with remote learning and things like that.
And so if you're looking at employee housing and daycare as issues,
Be right
now would be the
close.
time to work with us and just get it planned, get it just.
Well, I should have a conceptual done next week, and maybe I can get another meeting scheduled and bring Alonzo and everybody in, and you guys can look at it, because it only makes sense having it right next to all housing, you know what I mean? So when they go to work.
Yeah.
Anyway, we could get a pedestrian bridge across the interstate there,
No, you need to.
because then you'd be able to walk right over.
Yeah.
Now's the time to do it, because it's kind of getting too late. I almost think that's too late now.
It's too late in the game
All
now.
we do is sit around and hum around and not.
You know, I seen it at northern Idaho at, there was high, they got, their employees housing over there. And it's right close to the facility as well. I mean, they're doing all kinds of awesome things over there. And what you're talking about, what things for the family, that's what they've done.
So if you build mixed use where you can have commerce and gaming at the bottom and then apartments on the top for employees, whatnot. Build in the daycare facility, have the facility open enough for parents that aren't employees to drop their kids off.
And giving them this big picture, I think that would help us try to push to buy that land in the back. We proposed it and we got shot down already this last year.
Yeah, we tried, we actually had that in our budget to purchase that this year, or to fund the purchase for land use to go and do that, and we got shot down this year.
It only gets more expensive.
That's what we said, so.
We could include enterprise and, putting, little gas stations, little things around the facility. One of the ideas was an amphitheater. So, and we could include things like the movie theater, things that are already planned. We could put those inside of our plan. Which would leave more money for other things.
Well, and the reality is we're actually losing millions of dollars in opportunity costs by not developing that land. And so, the longer we wait, the more money we end up losing long-term. So.
Some other long-term things too, just to kind of keep in mind is this utility corridor, I got Idaho Power and everybody involved with the thinking of, because we want to relocate TP gas truck station. and down the road, maybe develop it in this area.
Why relocate it? Just build another one. That place
Well-
is always packed.
Well, I know, but the thing is, you're mixing heavy truck traffic with cars.
Yeah.
And so like a big trucker, you're gonna either start hurting one or the other. And if you moved them over on the other side of the road, then you take that traffic flow out of there. Does that make sense?
Speeds up.
Yeah, it's like
Extended
being in
zone.
a semi truck and wanting to get off on Chubbuck and drive down that road, and, you know, it starts getting, when all this stuff starts developing down the road, it's gonna be to where, ah, man, that's too busy, I don't even wanna mess with it, you just drive through, you see what I'm saying? But if you had it on this other side, you can pull over, do it. Then we need to work about trying to get them back over to you guys, might have to have a transit bus or something, running a constant loop through it. But anyway, the whole point was, we're looking at power demand loads for all of this, housing, economic, and that gas station. So we'll have enough power coming across to do the development in this area too. And so eventually you can move that, and then I don't know, you could do other things over there, like your stuff for the kids and movie theaters, things like that. But that's way down the road.
Do an amphitheater outside venue, double it
That's
as
what we want to do.
double it as drive-in
Yeah.
movie theater.
Retro, old school.
Yeah, and it's COVID
The whole
pandemic
idea of
friendly.
Having this corridor here is the fact that our electricity, our sewer, and our gas and everything, we're all at the top level of using everything up that we have.
Yeah, that's the
This will-
spine.
This will empower us, bring us more juice, all those areas, instead of having to do it when we do a project.
Yeah.
We'll have it all set there and ready to go. So if we do a project, then it'll be all set up. The electricity will be there instead of having to wait for them to put a 3-phase in and
Yeah.
upgrade the electricity. It's gonna be there.
Yeah, or north and south of that thing. Like I said, it's like a spine and the ribs are going out to all those areas. I mean, we'll be able to service the entire.
Right now, if you wanted to put any kind of project in any of these places, we'd have to upgrade everything, which would take more time and more money. Let's do it now.
Well, also too, at the same time, and what we're talking about as well, there's some investors out there like you were talking about that would like to do some things with the tribe. Entrepreneurs that are out there. There's about 6 of them that come up when we had our open house on this project on exit 80. So they would like to do something because, when people come through the summertime, and garden, bring your people and get them in and get them out going down the road again. Likewise with these guys for the summertime, stop in, get something to eat, and get them going to Yellowstone or what have you. They see the potential out here.
And the projections are, they're making it 3 lanes on each side, I-15, because the projections of growth are that significant.
They're gonna increase that to 3 lanes,
Yeah.
all the way to Hotel to IF.
The first part here will be North Gate. to
Oh.
Blackfoot.
So my plan for all this growth to get away from the people who moved to Blackfoot is shot now, huh? Have to move to Rigby now. Yeah, I was gonna say. Yeah, bone.
But I mean.
No, that's exciting. That's cool. So we just hired for a position on the hotel side. And we had, the first time I've seen this, but we had 4 applicants that relocated from California who are now living here. And of the 11 applicants we had, 4 of them were from California. So we are seeing an influx.
Once it starts, it doesn't stop either.
So.
Well, from what I understand, hotels went from 65,000 to like 84,000 population.
Wow.
In the last few years.
So are they developing the area in Chubbuck where they were supposed to put Google?
Oh, yeah, in the North Gate area.
And once they settle their lawsuits,
Yeah, they got trouble for annexing it and stuff, right?
yeah, that is, I don't know, those guys are, the developers are pretty shady, in my opinion. Like the company was built overnight for that project. When I was up at ISU, they came in and, talked to a bunch of us faculty about it, and it was just sketchy. Their website about Northgate, all their projects, their portfolio projects, they were like photos of buildings that were like in New Zealand, and there were other companies, like, it was just, there's nothing. And so then they screwed up the bridge, payment wise, tax credit wise, that had to be negotiated, the water, the sewer. They didn't plan for any of that. We're not 40,000 people to town, but the traffic will be the same, the sewer will be the same, the water will be the same. So
Schools will be.
all of that. And latest is that they built the right, Pocatello and the New Day Northgate developers put a zoning corridor on either side of New Day Parkway, so that the Rupp family, which is going to develop north of that exit, doesn't have access to any of the utilities or anything, because the city of Pocatello is pissed at them because they went to Chubbuck instead of Pocatello. So it's like drama fest about it. So if it gets resolved, they might build a house.
Yeah, what did the council say about purchasing that? Was it about that ever?
They told us no, so we,
What was the reason? Just too much money?
it's too much, so I don't remember what they said, so.
Basically, we're trying to do too much right now. We need to, focus on what we're
Wait,
doing
I
now.
think the exact verbiage was, it's not our job to think big, right? Wasn't that what they said? It's not your job to think big. So, yeah. So,
Well, I don't, plan B would be like you said, private development, right? I mean, maybe you can, I don't know, this is just thinking outside the box, but maybe let these guys go ahead and subdivide that and try to control it with,
I think that's part of,
zoning.
I think that's part of the problem is all of that land is deeded as ag acres. And
change that, no, that's what I'm saying. And then make it to where it's the type of businesses that you guys want to see come in to support it,
Yeah.
to support whatever development you want to do over here. You know, you can do that through permits. They're trying to want to fund it, you know what I mean? Let them change it to where they can sell it out.
Well, we've been pushing that.
Yeah.
We talked with Kelly about this, that if within a utility code or utility commission or something that manages the prices of utilities, and with proper zoning, you put on impact fees at all those fee properties. It's gonna cost too much for them to hook up, and they won't be able to sell it as at a high of a price, because you're gonna force them off their septics and wells, and there's different mechanisms like that that the cities use all the time to gentrify, basically. And so, by designating that into commercial off of ag, and having the infrastructure hookups, and then making it clear that any development is gonna have to pay for this infrastructure plug-in.
yeah.
Okay, well, that's $200,000 off your price. The value's just dropped. And then it also increases incentive of whoever's gonna be developing there is gonna be paying more for that development, so it's gonna be higher quality. Or not happen, and then the tribes can buy it cheaper. In theory.
Yeah, so my understanding is, I guess 20 years ago, they had an offer to purchase it for like 500,000.
Yeah.
And so, and at that time, they thought that was too much money. So
No, it's a couple million now, ain't it?
that's what we had put, was a couple million. And so, again, I'm not sure the reasoning, like, I don't really know. I mean, we're trying to be proactive in what we're doing. One of the things that we're seeing year over year growth, which suggests expansion. And, you keep expanding until you level out, and for whatever reason, they don't want to do the golf course and water park, and not exactly sure why. So.
Yeah, it's like I said, it only goes up. The more you put this infrastructure in, the landowner sees it, knows that.
Yeah, well, and they know that, they know that that's valuable real estate.
So we start putting more and more stuff in, it's
Yeah.
even more valuable. It's like,
Yes, yeah,
But
so,
then you can also control the value too, though. By putting the impact fees and stuff like that, you can control the
I just
development
say
that's happening.
Have a
And then,
public meeting, say you're gonna make it a waste treatment facility, sewer.
yeah, make the middle, you make the middle a
Just
sewer
make 'em think
pond,
that, and then get it spot out.
and the other two is gonna be really cheap.
so, no, I like this. I'm happy that we're doing this, and I think it's sorely needed. My opinion on the gas station is, I think we need a second gas station. What's goofy about that place right there is it's always busy. It's always busy. And so, you know, if we had a gas station with a car wash and an oil change station, I think that that'd provide a lot of value. And, you know, the tribes alone, they go into town for oil changes and stuff. We do too. So and I'm sure Enterprises has fleet vehicles and, you know, but when you're talking economic development and multiplier effect and,
exactly.
and keeping dollars here in house, we're just essentially doing ourselves a disservice by not discussing these ideas. And again, just we'll be more self-sustaining, self-sufficient by investing in this type of stuff. So I think this is cool. So, and you know, what's funny is I know as soon as I leave this, we're going to start talking and we're going to be like, oh, we should ask this, or we should have thought about this. And probably a good idea, Brooks, to have a follow-up. And
Yeah, well, let me get that conceptual in up there on that.
okay,
I'll have that
that
next
road.
week. And then I'll get this all updated to where we could see
Yeah.
how it all lays out, and then any questions, and then we'll. keep
Yeah,
moving forward.
so our RV park, we made a decision to basically increase the price on it 25%. And I was kind of thinking, I was like, oh man, I wonder what that's going to do, and might not be good. But our RV park was absolutely stocked last year. Like it had its best year ever. And you know, as far as the occupancy and stuff too. And so maybe that's something that we look at potentially expanding. And you know, again, I thought increasing the price would deter people, but I also don't know if it's because of what happened economically, where people, you know, did more road travel. So I don't know if that's playing into it too, and the numbers are skewed.
It might be just because of COVID.
Well, and that's entirely possible. Yeah.
You could go do nothing.
Yeah. So, and that's entirely possible too. And so, but we did capitalize on that by increasing the price, and it didn't deter anybody. So.
Well, you gotta think about the construction that'll be going on. I'm sure a lot of guys that travel for construction.
Are gonna need a place to stay.
That's what they like to do, but they travel away from home.
Well, yeah, and bring their families, and yeah, that's absolutely right.
You know, then the other thing, what you're talking about, having an oil change, I think the last time, it was 1.4 million that leaves off the rest when people take their rides, including DSA rigs to Canada.
Yeah.
The oil change.
Well, yeah, and we're just talking the business side of things. It'll also be utilized by the individuals too.
I know we brought that up, Richard and I, having it over here. We would pick out a place so we could, you know, work with 477 and have those guys over there certified to do the oil changes and stuff here, but that got shut down.
Here's an idea, Ray. If they don't want you to, we can't buy this, you can still utilize that, right? You're gonna have power, sewer. And these are all like on the individual septics and stuff, right? I think they are anyway. But I mean, all you would have to do is have one main line come down. You just make this all grass there, you put a bridge across the canal there, and you can expand your RV park out there until.
Yeah,
You actually do some development.
And truck
it'd be easy to
parking.
get rid of it. It wouldn't be hard to, you know, that's easy. It's just grass, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And a couple driveways, but. It's just something to think about. I mean, you have the potential to do that if you want to expand your RV park. Because anything else, you'd have to move it further down on the end and then,
Mhm.
you know, but where you got that wraparound road that we're talking about, it'd be perfect for big RVs and stuff too, to go back in there and go across. That's something to ponder.
Is there
Yeah.
supposed to be a road that connects to that? I thought the road is supposed to be to the main artery, like a little bit to the left that goes right
Well, I think
through. to the north.
That's the main entrance, is that left.
So it used to go all the way to the casinos bill. Or,
Yes, so, well, no, it's always been that road that basically separates the gas station and the old casino.
Hmm.
But that's the main entrance. So what we get is we get people who pull in with their big fifth wheels, and they kind of get stuck and congested in this area, and then they have to kind of snake their way around the property to get out. And again, it's kind of a goofy process, but the other thing is the distance. You know, if they park clear out here on the east side, they've got to walk all the way to the hotel front desk to get checked in. So it's kind of a goofy process, but.
so should we be talking about upgrading that road, but in between the old casino and the gas
I
station.
think this back
also.
road is gonna solve all your problems, to be honest with you.
Probably will,
You know,
yeah.
if you make it nice with the sidewalk, they can go right in and check in easy, you don't even pull all the way around the park.
Yeah, because right now there's just there's a little walkway north of the maintenance. There's a little walkway right there and they just walk straight into like the bingo entrance and so,
Oh, yeah, right now, that's where you're gonna.
yeah,
But
and
why
I,
can't- If you create a little shed out here for RV check-ins or something. and
we already have one, so. But yeah, and ideally, like most casinos, they force people into the casino. So that's kind of the idea that we're looking at too, is to want people to have to go through the casino and to get to the services, so.
But like I said, we're gonna make a really nice path between the RV park and, you know what I mean, check in this way.
Yeah.
whatever, you know, Then that way they go into it,
Yeah.
but make it nice flow, you know, for,
Mhm.
you know, pulling a big RV kind of sucks. Anyway, I'll keep that in mind when we do that, conceptual. So, as far as their inspection with, FSI, when is that gonna happen, you know?
We've already started them. So, when did we have? Fire services was there like 2 weeks ago. And they tested our alarm systems. Is it Fire Pro or somebody else comes and does? Or no, who's the other one who does the backflows?
Oh, Bat,
Bat.
yeah, they're from out of, oh, heck, Wyoming or over towards Alpine or somewhere.
Oh, I
Anyway,
don't know where
yeah,
they're from.
anyway, yeah, it's Bat.
So we have BAT, we have FSI, and then we've also asked, like the fire department, they come in and they do like the fire extinguishers. I think they come in twice a year.
We check fire extinguishers, we check all your exit signs.
Yeah, the
smoke
signage.
detectors, all that stuff. We check your zones and,
Yeah.
know you're out in the wrong house.
Yeah, so
Can we get, Greg to get hold of Kelly?
yeah, for sure.
Whatever the inspection gives them, and so, and then we'll probably come up with some questions. Also, when we do that fire suppression flow, I'm sure your insurance would be, wanting to have that on record. I mean, I think it'd be
Yeah.
better for facility anyway. I don't know who handles that. Who's doing the insurance stuff right now, do you know?
It's a combination, Becky Martin, Galen Turnage, and then down in HR, we have Dora Truchot, who works with our insurance.
Okay,
So,
maybe just talk with them and get it on record.
yeah.
Okay. Anything else? Well, that's about all I had. Let me get those conceptuals.
Okay,
and I'll set
cool.
another meeting in a week or two. And then,
Yeah. No, I
got
love
any other
this.
questions before then? Great, reach out and let me know and I'll get working.
Okay.
We can be as far as possible, because I know they want to start on this stuff right away.
Yeah.
Just work for council to get it going.
Yeah. No.
Nice seeing you again.
So-
You take this.
Yeah. Nice meeting you.
It's just a draft engineering.